Right, it's been a bit of a hot minute since I've done one of these, but we're back with another episode of the Paradigm Project podcast. Now, today's episode is all about what I would do if I was an entrepreneur, business owner, or a busy executive and I was struggling with my health and fitness. What are the steps I would take to get myself from where I am now, which is typically probably overweight, unhappy with how I look, out of shape, low in energy, just generally feeling a little bit shit. Now, what would I do to get from point A to point B, which is your goals, your aspirations, your dreams? And what we're going to do is we're going to split these up into 6 different categories. We're going to have training, nutrition, mindset, goals, lifestyle, and we also have sleep. So 6 very important elements. Instead of me waffling on, let's get stuck right into it. So if I was a busy entrepreneur, I was consistently smashing out 50, 60 hours a week and I was stressed to my eyeballs and my gut was hanging over my jeans, what the hell would I do to get myself looking like some resemblance of the person that I actually want to be and have that energy that I see other people walking around with every day? And why the hell can't I have that? So first thing is first, why do these sort of people struggle now? Why do entrepreneurs, business owners, C-suite executives, why do these people struggle with their health and fitness? Well, it's the same as anyone. Why does anyone struggle with their health and fitness? One of the big issues I see is just, for one, it's not a priority. So I speak to a lot of people and a lot of past clients I've had and current clients I've had, and one of the big issues they've struggled with is they haven't made their health and fitness a priority. And usually that comes down to a perceived lack of time, just not where or what they want to focus on at that given time. Unfortunately, when you don't focus on something, if you leave it for long enough, it festers in the background. When you do want to do something about it somewhere down the line in the future, the problem is a hell of a lot worse. So it's obviously much more beneficial to get on top of your shit now so you don't make life a lot harder for yourself in the future. Now, I said perceived lack of time, and that's because, like, let's put things straight here. Yes, there are 24 hours in the day. I'm not going to go through that BS. Oh, everyone has the same 24 hours in the day, because yes, while that's true, everyone has different uses for the time and different time requirements. It comes down to priorities. If someone values something and prioritizes something, the likelihood of you putting in the effort needed then to progress that element of your life is much more likely. If somebody doesn't value something, you ain't going to do it. If I want to start learning Chinese and I have no interest or value placed on learning Chinese, then I'm not going to do it. But if I'm moving to China next year and I have to know Chinese for my new job, whatever the hell job that would be, then you bet your ass that there's probably a much higher likelihood that I am going to put the effort in because I value that, because I don't want to turn up on China's doorstep and not know any words, because I doubt that's going to go very well for me. So when it comes to your health and not having the time to work out, that thing is, I don't have the time to work out and I've got other shit to do and I'm too busy with my work and I've got a family and I've got all this other stuff. And yeah, I understand that completely and I get where you're coming from. But if you value something, you'll make the time for it. So that's the overriding thing I want to get into your head before I move on and actually talk about what I would do step by step, because all that's going to be null and void if you are not willing to say, right, I need to do something about my health. I'm out of shape. I'm pretty fat. I'm sore. I'm full of aches, pains. My heart rate is through the roof. My blood pressure's much higher than I'd like it to be. And I'm just not happy with how I look. And here, I might not make it to 60 and I won't be able to see my family grow old and all that sort of stuff, okay? Once you realize all that, you'll soon, hopefully, start to value your health and you do something about it. First thing I would do, I would put a massive emphasis on my training. For me anyway, it sets the foundations and it kind of sets everything else in motion. When I work out consistently, I end up sleeping better, I eat better, I'm happier, more confident, all that sort of stuff. I do better with business. And that all comes from me just consistently working out most days of the week, or at least doing something physical. I was saying, I joke with my missus all the time, is that I'm like a dog, maybe in more ways than one. But yeah, I'm like a dog as in I need to be worked. Is that if I was out in a out in a field, um, herding sheep, I'd probably be quite happy. But if I was sat my ass with an 80-year-old couple and I wasn't getting out and getting my walks, I'd rip the wall off. I'd chew the hell out of that sofa. And I'm kind of like that as a person as well, is that I respond very well to physical activity. When I move and I exercise and I work out, I feel better and I perform better in every other element of my life. On the flip side, when I don't, generally everything else takes a bit of an impact. I will be a bit more crap with my nutrition. Maybe I won't sleep as well because I haven't exerted energy. What I would do if I was in this position of just wanting to change or feeling like I needed to change is the big thing I would do is I would educate myself, and I do that so I could be set for life. So a lot of my coach clients come to me. I tell them straight off the bat is that, yeah, you're going to be with me for X amount of time, usually for like 6 months, 12 months, a couple of years. And then you're going to piss off and do your own thing and in the nicest way possible. And that's because it's my job to educate that person, educate them to a position where they're competent, they're confident enough that they can then go off and do their own thing. Let's get into nutrition first. I'm gonna rile. I'm gonna go through these pretty quickly, okay? Because I don't want to hold you for too long. First thing I would do is I would find out how many calories I need to eat. Okay, so usually most people, when they're trying to create some sort of change with their health, they're usually overweight. Okay, so what do we need for fat loss or weight loss? We need to be in a calorie deficit. So that's the first thing I would do is I would find out how many calories I need to be eating to achieve a calorie deficit. Now, what I would do as well is I'd use my Fitness Pal or one of those calorie tracking apps to track my calories. Okay, because what doesn't get tracked doesn't get measured. Okay, so you need to track all the food you're taking in, tracking every day, seeing if it's working, if it's not. If you find you're gaining weight, calories too high. If you're losing weight, awesome, keep at it and just milk it for as much as you can. If the weight stalls, adjust your calories. Okay. One of the big issues I see a lot of these busy execs and entrepreneurs run into is just what the hell do I eat? When it comes to nutrition, it is the biggest stumbling block for a lot of people. You can't out-train a bad diet. You can work your ass off in the gym. You can do 15,000 steps. But if you're eating like a pig and you're slobbing it out, you are not going to achieve the results you want to achieve just physically and aesthetically. And then from a health viewpoint as well. So what I would do to get around this is I would either use a meal prep company to do my meals for me. And you just simply taking out the stress of having to cook meals and having to track calories yourself. You tell them what you need and then they give it to you, okay? If you do have more time, then I would prep meals in advance. Now, I'm not telling you to prep for weeks and weeks and weeks. When I say prep, do what I do. If I'm making dinner, I'll make enough then so I have some for my lunch. Or I might make enough so I've got enough for lunch and dinner. People will tell me it's like, oh, that's boring, and it might sound boring to some people, but you know what isn't boring? Getting results. I would also then have repeated meals. So repeated meals are awesome. Again, you might say it's boring, but again, results ain't boring. I'm very boring in the sense of I have the same breakfast probably every day of the week, Monday to Friday at least. I was eating the same breakfast for about 6 months. And I did that not because I bloody wanted to, but because it was easy. It was simple. I knew exactly what I was having, how to cook it. It took me 5 minutes to prep and have it on my plate. So in my bowl, have the same breakfast Monday to Friday, have the same lunch, and then play about with your dinner. But honestly, repeated meals will make your life so much easier when it comes to nutrition. If you're tight for time and your schedule's up your ass, then you want to make nutrition as easy as you possibly can, because the opposite of that is that when you don't have time, what do? You find yourself snacking in the cupboard or ordering takeaways and just eating God knows what, and then you've just destroyed your nutrition. And that's why you can't lose that weight, why you still have your belly hanging over your trousers. One of the big pieces of advice I give is get a list of your local restaurants and Deliveroo and takeaway guys of healthy options. You don't want to be ideally ordering pizza. Now, you can eat pizza and still lose weight, calories in, calories out, all that sort of stuff. But you want to find restaurants that will deliver kind of macro friendly, high protein meals. Again, just being a bit savvy. This does take a bit of prep and a bit of know-how on your behalf. But again, if you value something, you'll put the work in. I would also make sure that I am eating at least 1 gram of protein per kilo of lean muscle mass, going up towards 2 grams if you are kind of just serious about busting your ass in the gym and making as much progress as you can, especially if you want to build muscle, which we all want to do because building muscle is extremely important for not only your immediate health, but your long-term health and longevity as well. Make sure you get your protein in. Protein is obviously super beneficial, not just for building muscle, but also for recovering between sessions as well. And also it has a big impact on fat loss. So protein not only keeps you full for longer, it also helps with satiety levels. So it helps keep you full. Okay, so, and if you're really interested in making the most of your fat loss efforts, and protein actually burns the most calories when you digest it. So another quick, easy win. Food quality, we all know food quality is very important. So we don't want to just be shoveling shit into our mouth, because yes, we do have to worry about more than simply calories in and calories out, because we want to be getting in enough vitamins, minerals, all that sort of stuff. But at the start, I don't like to stress people out. I don't want to overwhelm you with information. So I would much rather you focus on your calories and focus on getting that consistent calorie deficit every day for a few weeks, a couple of months. And then as you start to get some progress, you start to get some confidence and some consistency and competence under your belt, then yes, then I would shift more towards thinking about the type of food you're eating and the quality of food you're eating. But at the start, I'd rather you just start shifting that weight, because in my opinion, it's probably more disadvantageous. No, it's not a word, Mark. It's definitely more advantageous to have a lower body weight and less body fat for a period of time than it is to be consuming foods that are maybe higher in a certain vitamin or mineral, at least at the start anyway. Obviously, for longevity and overall health, we want to be making sure that we are getting enough of those vitamins and minerals, but that ain't going to really help you if you're 45 pounds overweight. Okay, so at the start, just focus on the calories, and then as you get more into your journey, yeah, think about the kind of foods that you are eating. What I would do is I'd bank my calories. So I bank my calories when I do, or when I go on work and social events. So I'm sure you've got meetings left, right, and center. You've probably got a few work dinners a week, and maybe you have a social life. I hope you have a social life anyway. And you've got dinner with friends, whatever it is, okay? You got a family, you got a wife, a kid, you've got shit to do, okay? Those events are usually, for the most people, packed with calories, okay? Whether it's food, alcohol, drink, dessert, you name it, usually comes with more calories attached. So banking calories is an awesome way of getting around this. Now, super simple. What you're doing is you're essentially saving calories to use at a later date. So think of it when you go to Ibiza and you go on your holidays, like I did last week, and you want to get pissed. So what do? You save up all your money for a week, a few weeks, and then you have all that extra money to spend at the weekend and just get absolutely balado. Do the same thing with your calories, okay? Maybe Monday to Thursday, you cut back in your calories a bit. So instead of having one full baked potato with your lunch, maybe you have half a baked potato. Or instead of 2 cupfuls of rice, you have one. Okay, you get the idea. And what you're doing then is you're banking those calories to then use later in the week. So when you go to a work event or you go out to dinner, that you have more calories in reserve that then you can use to enjoy that event. Because the last thing you want to be doing is you want to go to like dinner with your spouse, with your missus, and then you're like, oh, I can't have the cheesecake because I'm in a calorie deficit. Now, you can also do that as well, and no judgment here. Of 1,000,000% you can do that. And if you have a supportive partner, then they'll support you doing that. But you could have your cake and eat it if you were a bit more strategic with your calories. And you could do what I do, okay? Because I like to eat, that's why I train, is you can bank your calories by not only decreasing the amount of calories you're eating, but also increasing the amount of calories you're burning. So then you're really increasing that gap and you're creating a bigger buffer then to use. So it's simple. Just go for a bigger walk. Okay. Busting your ass in the gym isn't necessarily going to do too much more in terms of energy expenditure, because we know that energy expenditure through exercise isn't actually that big. It's like 5 to 10% at the most for trained people. For your Joe blogs that's just starting off, it's going to be like 5% or lower. Your non-exercise activity thermogenesis, or your NEAT, as we all know it to be, is a much bigger player when it comes to fat loss. Okay, so just walk, do some house chores, walk your dog, play with your kids, whatever it is. Just get into the habit of moving more, and then you're going to burn more calories during your week, and you're going to create an even bigger buffer. Last one is supplements. So if I was starting off, I would take creatine every day, because creatine is just a rocket fuel, and it's like a cheat code, not just for your muscles and your recovery, but also you're thicker up here in your brain. It's good for cognitive function, which if you're making decisions on a day-to-day basis and you care about the quality of those I need to take more creatine, is if you care about the quality of those decisions, then creatine will actually be of benefit. Okay, there's loads of research coming out about the benefits of creatine when it comes to cognitive function, so it might just make you a smarter cookie. That's what I'm hoping anyway for myself. So creatine, I would grab a protein supplement as well. Now, it doesn't have to just be whey protein. It could be pea, soy, peanut, bloody beef, whatever the hell you want to, whatever you want to go with. And then I'd also get a multivitamin. So just in case you're a bit low on certain things, grab yourself a multivitamin and smash that. Oh, and last one, I'd cut the booze. Now, this might be a bit tough for most people, but alcohol just comes with loads and loads of calories. So if you can cut it out, doesn't have to be completely, but it would just make your life a hell of a lot easier. Not just from a calorie viewpoint, just kind of performance viewpoint as well. If you're always hanging and you're like a rat's ass when you go to the gym, you ain't going to train properly. Okay, so just be mindful of the old boozing, which I know is not that easy. Okay, let's move on to training. So training and nutrition are definitely going to be the biggest ones here. With my training, I'd set myself, I mean training, I mean like exercise, physical activity, but I mostly mean going to the gym. But what I would do is I'd set myself some non-negotiables, and I would do that in the way of my steps. So I'd want to walk at least 8 to 10,000 steps per day. I'd weight train, so I'd bang weights 3 days per week. In those weight training sessions as well, I do full body workouts just because it's going to give me more bang for my buck. I'm going to get stuff done a lot quicker. I won't have to do as many exercises if I was doing kind of like splits and that sort of stuff. So yeah, full body sessions, and I'd stick to mostly compound exercises. Again, because compounds give you more bang for your buck. When I mean compounds, I mean things like deadlifts, squats, pull-ups, overhead press, lunges, that sort of stuff. Okay, so pick exercises that just do a lot in one movement. A bicep curl, yes, is going to give you big arms, but from a time efficiency point of view, it's not going to do that well. But I would throw them in at the end. Okay, so you can get very smart with your training, but mostly stick to your compounds because you just get more shit done in a shorter time. And this part is very important, especially if you're someone that travels a lot, which I know a lot of people that listen to this podcast do, is I would make sure that my program that I was following was adaptable. So there's no point in you having a program that has 3 sessions in a particular gym, but then you find yourself traveling for a week and then you can't do any workouts. Now, what you could do is either get yourself a program that you can do at home as well. So you have like 2 programs essentially, which is what I do for some clients, or you have access to workouts you can do in a hotel room with like some bands or a bloody suitcase, that sort of stuff. You want to get a bit creative, which does come with a bit more experience, but I would have a program that's adaptable. If you find yourself traveling across the world and you've got access to a hotel gym, you want to make sure that you can still do a workout in that gym and it doesn't just require certain machines. Okay, so if you need like a pendulum squat machine in your program, but you go to a hotel, chances are you ain't going to have that machine. Okay, so you want to make sure that your program is adaptable. So you're banging weights at least 3 days a week, like 40-45 minutes a session. I'd also importantly add in cardio. So I do at least 1, possibly 2 if I had time, cardio sessions a week. Of one of those sessions, I would make sure I was doing zone 2 cardio. Now zone 2 is like, it's the end thing at the moment. It's like calorie deficit a few years ago and intermittent fasting a few years after that. But zone 2 cardio is super important. Okay, and reason for it is that it's just good. It's good for the old ticker. So cardiovascular training is obviously training your cardiovascular system, so the efficiency and health of your heart and lungs. And zone 2 cardio is amazing for that. Now, zone 2 is going to be like 60 65, 70% of your max heart rate. Quick one here to get your max heart rate. Super simple. Just take away your age from 220. There's your max heart rate. For me, 220, take away 33, quick maths, 187. So that's my max heart rate. And then I would just find 60 to 70% of that. Boom, there's my zone 2. You're going to need one of these or a Whoop. Little plug there, Whoop. I've been using you for 4 years. No, 6. Free membership. But yeah, so I would do that. And that's just going to help you track when you're doing zone 2. But zone 2 is super important because, yes, we want to be jacked and strong and lifting bloody 3 times the body weight we squat. But we also want to live long. So zone 2 cardio is going to help you do that. So yeah, don't skip on the cardio, which I was guilty of in my younger age because I was just obviously in my 20s meathead that just wanted to lift weights and get fit for the girls, when all I would achieve was just guys coming up to me in the bar saying, how much should I bench? So yeah. I would also prioritize mobility training. Okay, mobility is going to set the foundations for a lot of things you can and can't do in the gym. If you don't have the ability to scratch your ass, how are you going to perform an overhead press with the sufficient technique? Okay, so don't skimp on the mobility training either. It's all well and good being able to bench press your body weight, but if you can't squat half your body weight, then you're doing things wrong. Okay, so work on your mobility because it's just going to help you move better, feel better. Also going to risk the possibility of you getting hurt because you do something stupid or you can't move in the correct way. So yeah, I'd also do mobility training 5-10 minutes before your workout. After it doesn't take long, but does make a big difference. I would also, this one's super important, never ignore pain. Okay, I've done this before in the past. We've all been guilty of it, especially coaches. Coaches are great at kind of maneuvering around like little slimy snakes around injuries that they get to themselves or pains, because we're clever. We're clever little fuckers. And what we'll do is we'll find out, like, oh, I got a sore left shoulder. Do you know what? I can't do bench press, but I can do, sure as hell, do some floor press with dumbbells. And oh, my shoulder's not sore. And then we kind of forget about it, or we don't forget, we ignore it. We're able to still continue training, but we never fix the problem. And I'm definitely referring to myself there, but I know loads of other coaches that do that as well. We don't always follow our own advice. Yeah, so never ignore pain because that just gets worse. So what might seem small now will be a hell of a lot worse somewhere down the line. Also, last bit on training is I would get myself a customized program. Now, this isn't me trying to sell you or plug my coaching, but it's there if you want it, of course. Paradigm Project. But yeah, I'd get myself a customized program so that I knew that I was doing the right things for me. It's very easy to find a cookie cutter program online. And you know what? Yes, for the majority of people, you might achieve some awesome things. If you want to make the most of your training and you want to progress as quickly as you possibly can and as safely as you possibly can, then a customized program will just get you there a hell of a lot quicker. And I'd also use an app to track my workouts, because again, like nutrition, what doesn't get tracked doesn't get measured. So use an app or just use the notes in your phone. Like I have a training app for my clients and they all use it and they love it, but I use the notes on my phone, whatever floats your boat. Okay, but you need to be tracking your workouts because you need to see how you're progressing. Okay, very important. Lifestyle next. Okay, lifestyle / health. Very important. You need to track certain markers. Okay, you need to be tracking certain health markers, such as your blood pressure, your resting heart rate, your heart rate variability, your sleep. You need to be tracking these things. You could track your body weight as well if you're focused on that. Yeah, throw body weight in there as well. But you don't have to get as hung up. Obviously, when it comes to creating like fat loss, is that it's more about kind of what you see or how you feel, because sometimes your weight actually won't even move that much, but you'll actually lose body fat because you might be gaining muscle. I would always find ways to effectively manage my stress. Now, that might mean knocking one out after a busy day of work or before a busy day's work, whatever gets you down. But no, in all seriousness, you need to find something that effectively manage your stress. That could be breath work. It could be a hobby. It could just be watching TV with your missus. It could be playing with your kids, your dog, whatever it is. You just need to find something that just brings you down from that highly stressed state to a more kind of calm and relaxed state. Also, if I was running a business, and this one is super important, if I was running a business, I'd find ways of making health and fitness more inclusive and more a part of that business. So I do things like team workouts. I'd have guest speakers come in for seminars and just talks and just anything that promotes a healthy life. And the reason for that is because environment dictates success. So if you're in the office or wherever you do your work, maybe it's at home, the environment you're in day to day is going to have a massive impact on the kind of success and results that you have, whether that's with your health, with your business, with your relationships, whatever the hell it is. Environment dictates success. So if you have the power to, or the influence to just make the environment around you more geared towards health and fitness, you are going to massively benefit from that. Okay, so yeah, make it more inclusive. I would get my bloods tested. So I'd go get like a full health screen, get my bloods done. I'd see where my hormones are at, where I was deficient, and then I'd use that to kind of dictate where I was gonna, or kind of moves I would make. Because again, what doesn't get tracked doesn't get measured. So the more information you have when it comes to your health, the better, because then you can make educated decisions. The same way with your business is that you wouldn't make a business decision, well, you shouldn't anyway, without necessary information. So you're not going to say, right, we're going to dive into the Chinese market without finding out all the information you possibly could about that market, okay? Because the last thing you want to do is it blow up in your face and lose a shit ton of money, okay? So the same needs to be done for your health. I'd also schedule in all my workouts, like walks, food shops, food prep, breath work, meditation, whatever it is, planning. I'd put it all into my Google Calendar or any calendar you use. I use Google Calendar because it's just the best. But I would get into the habit of scheduling everything, because if it's not in your diary, high chance it won't get done. I've been working out now for almost 20 years. I wasn't using a Google Calendar when I was 12, but for the last few years, I've always scheduled in my workouts, even though I do them. Like I go to the gym at least 4, maybe 5 times a week. I run 2 or 3 times a week, and I still put that into my diary. Even though I know I'm going to do it, it's just there. It reminds me, and I build my day around that workout and my clients. So do the same. Sleep next. Okay, super important. I would sleep a minimum of 7 hours per night. None of this 4 or 5 hour bullshit. I would sleep for at least 7 hours a night. If you're sitting there saying, I can't sleep for 7 hours a night, Mark, then you know what? Just get yourself to bed a bit earlier. It's not going to happen overnight, no pun intended, is that it takes time. Sleep is a skill. It's probably a high likelihood that you've lost that skill. That skill that we had as a baby where we could sleep for 14, 15 hours a day, what heaven that would be, is that skill usually gets a bit skewed and lost as we age. You've got to build that skill back up. And then ironically, it kind of gets better as we get older. We hit like 60, 70, 80, and you're like Grandpa Simpson, and all you want to do is sleep all the time. That'd be amazing. But yeah, so you need to get that skill back. Okay, so it takes time. Practice, practice, practice. Practice the art of going to sleep. One of the things you can do to help that as well is magnesium. So I take magnesium every single night. I do it because supposedly there's research, but there is research out there that says it promotes better quality sleep. It's also great for your muscles, helps you get like better muscle contractions. But yeah, it's just good for recovery. And magnesium is just an overall awesome supplement. So it's like my top 3 supplements I'd recommend. Also, screens. So turn these bad boys off at least like 30 minutes, if not an hour before you go to bed. Not just because of the blue light, and obviously they say blue light disrupts your circadian rhythm, but for me, it's more about your brain, and it's just that busyness. If you're on your phone and you're looking, scrolling through Instagram or LinkedIn, or you're checking your emails, your mind's going to be busy. Okay. And that busy mind, what's it going to do? It's going to stop you going to sleep or switching off. The last thing you want to be doing is checking your emails at 10:30 in the evening, thinking, what the hell is Jerry emailing me for? And you go to bed, and you're like, fucking Jerry. And then you can't sleep. Okay. And it's midnight and you're still thinking, that bastard Jerry. Sorry for any Jerrys out there. But you get my point, is that you need to kind of switch your brain off. Okay. You need to get ready for bed. You need to tell your brain, your body, I'm going to sleep. It's like, calm, calm. Let's go to sleep. That's not going to happen if you're up smashing PlayStation at 11 o'clock or you're answering emails. So screen off, calm, nice and calm. One of the things I do as well every night is I use a nose strip. So I look sexy as hell when I go to sleep every night. And it's just a wonder my fiance just, it's a wonder she can sleep with me next to her, is because I sleep with a nose strip, big nice black nose strip, and also some mouth tape. So I tape my mouth up as well, and I wear earplugs. So yeah, I am just an absolute treasure when I go to sleep. But I do all that stuff because it helps me breathe properly. My nasal breathing is a bit crap, so that just promotes better breathing for me, and it helps me sleep better. Nasal breathing is much better for you than mouth breathing. Is that if you actually do that and you breathe like that from your mouth into your chest, it doesn't feel very good. And what does it kind of replicate? Is that like panic? When you're panicked, you breathe through that, okay? And that puts up your stress levels, and it indicates to your body that like something bad's gonna happen, some bad shit's gonna go down. Whereas when you breathe through your nose, you're promoting more of a rest and digest. So you're promoting a more calm state. And that's the state we want to have ideally when you're in bed. Also, very, very, very important. Two things. Track your sleep. So it goes back to your Whoop. Oh, battery, don't need that anymore. Is you need to track your sleep. I'm not saying you need to use a Whoop. Again, I'm not affiliated with Whoop, which I wish I was. But you need to have something just that tracks your sleep. It could be as easy as you just going to bed and going like, right, it's 11 o'clock. I wake up at 7. That you've been in bed for 8 hours. It doesn't always mean you're asleep for 8 hours. It never does. But you need to have something so you can see how long and ideally how much sleep you're getting every night. Also, extremely important is make your sleep a priority. Again, I went back to your nutrition and your training, is that if you value something, you prioritize something. Your sleep needs to be a very, very, very important element of your life, because if you don't sleep well, everything else just goes to shit. You won't train as hard, you won't eat as well, you won't be in as good as mood, you won't have as much energy, you won't be as productive, all those sorts of things. Just won't be as good of a person. Simple as that. If you don't sleep. Okay. So make it a priority. All right. Second last one is your mindset. Extremely important. And there's a book over there. No, there's not. My sister has that book. There's an awesome book called Start With Why. That's by Simon Sinek. Your why is the reason behind you doing everything. So it could be when you talk about business, is like why you are doing this business. It's usually to serve a purpose or create a, like, fill a void that might be in your own life or whatever it is. But when it comes to your health and fitness, you need to find the why behind doing everything. So like my why is because I want to be as fit, strong, happy, healthy, and I want to have the greatest quality of life as I get older for as long as I possibly can, not just for me, but like for my family, my loved ones, and those closest to me. So I just want to enjoy life as much as I possibly can. And I know that my body and my health is what allows me to do that. You could have all the money in the world, and yes, money does make life easier. And controversial as it may sound, life will be better the more money you have, because you could just do more shit and experience more stuff. But if you don't have your health and your body is crap, then you can only do so much with that money. Find your why. And the reason you find your why is because your motivation is going to go like this. Okay. Maybe after you've listened to this amazing podcast, your motivation is going to go up and you're going to go, yes, Mark got me super motivated. I want to go smash the gym. I'm going to go eat well. I'm going to sleep. I'm going to do all that sort of stuff he said. But after a week, you'll forget about me. Hopefully not. And your motivation might go back down. When you have that why behind you, you don't need to be motivated because you have something stronger than you driving you forward. Okay. So that's super important. I'd also join a group or a community, something that was going to not only keep me accountable, just so I could like talk and just see other people on a similar journey. Now, whether that's like part of a coaching program like my own, where you get to talk to me or other people, you need to be part of something where people are on a similar journey with similar goals, because maybe there's probably a high likelihood that the people around you, maybe whether it's in work, colleagues, maybe even friends, that just aren't on a similar path to you, and maybe they're too busy going out and getting drunk and They just don't care about fitness. If you're around those people long enough, then you feed off that. So you need to surround yourself with people that are focused on their health. They've got that growth mindset towards their health and fitness. So last little bit on mindset is your self-limiting beliefs. Now, everybody has limiting beliefs. It's just part of human nature. But when it comes to your health and fitness, this is what stumbles or causes a lot of people to stumble, is because it's very easy to get demotivated and pissed off when you try to do something repeatedly and you just never get to do it, or you never get those results that you crave and you want. So that causes limiting beliefs, because you deep down don't think that you can actually do it. Even though you attempt to do it again and again and again, deep down you never actually think, do you know what, this is a time where I actually change and I get my shit together and I get that six pack, or I eliminate my lower back pain, whatever it is. This is the time I do it. A lot of people lack that belief. So what you need to do is you need to work on those self-limiting beliefs and find out why you keep failing. Because once you get on top of those self-limiting beliefs and you recognize them, then you can actually do something about it. And then when shit maybe doesn't go the way it's supposed to go, you don't fall off the wagon completely. You're like, right, you know what? I know why this has happened. This time it's not going to cause me to fail and just kind of completely give up. You're going to do something about it. So you need to recognize those self-limiting beliefs, and then you need to work on them. And that takes some time. Okay, last little bit. I'd set 30-day goals, 90-day goals, and 1-year goals. Okay. And I'd make sure they were realistic. So you want to set yourself realistic expectations. You want a long-term goal. You want to reverse engineer that shit into smaller goals and then just work on those every day, every week. And then eventually those long-term goals or those short-term goals will all add up to your long-term goals. I'd also write down my ultimate vision for my health and fitness. So if I had a magic wand, what would be my like big dream and aspiration if I had that wish? Okay. Write that down and get creative, be imaginative, and be ambitious, and also be realistic. Don't write down I want to be Arnold Schwarzenegger or Ronnie Coleman, because that just ain't gonna happen. But do write down I want to hit my 50th birthday and be the strongest, fittest, and fittest, strongest, happiest, and healthiest I've ever been. I want to have no back pain. I want to be able to squat twice my body weight and run a 3-hour marathon, whatever the hell it is. Be ambitious, okay? But be realistic. And then last bit, when it comes to goals, is I would share my goals with those closest to me. I'm not telling you to go on Instagram and shout to the world like, I want to get a fatter ass, or I want to lose 20 pounds. Don't do that. You can do that, but I wouldn't do that personally. Is I would just tell my wife, my husband, my friends, my kids, colleagues. I just tell a few people what I was doing. Okay. For one, it gets them interested in you and kind of vested and supportive. And if they're not supported, then you just tell them to go piss off. And it also helps them kind of support you going forward. So if someone knows that your goal is fat loss, the likelihood of them maybe saying, let's go for a takeout or go boozing, whatever it is, maybe a little bit less likely. Not saying it's completely unlikely, but it's less, okay, because you've got more support. It's about that whole environment thing. Obviously, you're trying to create a more positive environment so then you can actually achieve your goals. And also it helps keep you accountable to them. So if you've told more people your goals, you're suddenly like, oh shit, like I gotta do this stuff or I'm gonna be a failure to them. So you don't want to let those people down. So yeah, tell people your goals. Okay, I definitely know I've waffled on for long enough. That was a much longer episode than I had a vision, but the aim was just to show you what I would do step by step, where you give you a lot more steps than I was thinking of, but this old brain got busy and I just rattled a lot of stuff at you. So yeah, I would focus on training, nutrition, mindset, lifestyle, goals, and just overall general health. I'm going to leave you one thing, and it's just one piece of advice to anyone that might find themselves in that situation of wanting to change, and maybe they feel like they're stuck in the mud and they don't know where to go with their health and fitness, and shit feels a bit hard and overwhelmed, stressed, anxieties to the roof, whatever it is go slow. Okay, so just like the first time you do the jiggery pokery, is that you're supposed to go slow, otherwise you'll mess up. That's what I've been told anyway. But yeah, you need to go slow, because when you go slow, you have time to think. So don't run, walk first, because at the start, you're going to make mistakes. If you go into things at 100 miles an hour, shit's going to go wrong quick. Be patient, take your time, and then just go through things step by step. Okay. You're not trying to create, you're not, because the thing is that if you have, pardon my language, if you've been a lazy piece of shit for the last 10, 20, 30 years, that doesn't get reversed overnight. It doesn't get reversed in a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 3 months, heck, even 6 months. Is that stuff takes time. In order for you to get to that position of like greater health, happiness, fitness, it takes time. Okay, you need to be patient with it. So don't try and do it all at once, because you're just gonna feel like shit. You're gonna get anxious, you're gonna get stressed, and you're just gonna give up, which happens to the vast majority of people. So go nice and slow, take it step by step, reverse engineer those goals, tick them off one by one, those small goals, and that's how you're gonna get to the end. Okay, and just be extremely consistent. When I say extremely consistent, if you can be an 8 out of 10, a 7 out of 10, most times, then you're going to do amazing things. Don't try and do 10 out of 10 all the times, because that shit just blows up in your face very, very quick. I'd much rather you be a 6 out of 10, 52 weeks of the year, than try to be a 10 out of 10 for 6 weeks of the year, and then a 1 out of 10 for the other 46. Be mediocre. But you know what? If you're mediocre with your health and fitness, you'll actually do a hell of a lot more than most people will ever do. Hope that was somewhat useful. If you've made it to the end of this, then you are an absolute legend and you're a star. As always, hit the like, subscribe, follow button. You can catch me on Instagram, LinkedIn, and just, yeah, make sure you check out the next episode, which will be coming next week, of the Paradigm Project podcast with myself. Catch you soon.